usually just have like an idea of like what I want to draw. Hee hee. Hee hee, that's me. If we're like being realistic. I'm like sitting like this. Gigi's like watching me somewhere. And then, actually, that's my left hand. Right hand, I have my pen, tablet, or iPad, and it's like the same process with drawing where you have an image here and you want it to be here. I have this idea, and I'll have to figure out like, okay, first of all, what canvas size do I want? Because like sometimes, especially when it's just like random ideas that I know will just like possibly go on forever, um, I'll just like want to have like a, ooh, that is way too small. Like I'll make boxes or panels and I'll just keep going and going. So I usually like a very landscape uh oriented canvas because like the way I think like from left to right is like this scene, then this scene, then this scene, then this scene, then this scene continues on. It's like writing an essay. It's just how I think. Um, but if you want it to be like more of like a manga, you'd want your canvas to be like more paper-like. Does that make sense? So that you can do like the classic like, same kind of like thing where it's like for me it's like left to right, but you can be a little bit more creative with like how big the sizes are for the panels and stuff. Or if you want to do like what I like to do is like a mixture of like, okay, panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and then like stacked panel 4 and 5. And usually uh these two are like sequential. um the next step is to figure out like what you want the scene to, how you want the scene to go. So say I want like a serious talk um between like character A, no, that's sloppy. Uh Character 1 and character 2. What's fun about making comics is that when you're storyboarding them, you can like play around the timing of the story. So like when you first like enter the scene, maybe have like the setting be shown first. It's nighttime, you know, pretty hills, maybe a river, whatever. I've noticed that like in every manga, they start like a big chapter, a big scene with like a giant panel with like a setting, and then um I don't know, for this case like we'll introduce the characters here, like say the moon's here and then the characters are like standing under it and stuff, and then in this one we like zoom in close. Oh, they're lovers. And then I could do like some annotation that it's like the backs of them, or I could just leave it like that because I know it's like gonna be uh the backs of their heads, but and they're facing the moon. But for the timing of this, it's like there's no dialogue, um, there's no like fast paced like action. So just like that's how like the size and the shape of the panels really help. And within the like the storyboarding process, you don't want to like put too much detail into it and because it's just going to be confusing. Um, it's just like a simple way to sketch out what you're planning before you line everything. Um, so I use like a thick or thick but like kind of transparent brush. Usually not this one per se. I mean, it helps me keep from like getting over complicated. Um, where was I? Oh yeah. Then you can make it like a fast-paced scene. Like say you can make like the panels short. Well, I mismeasured them, but I want to keep this. Like if you make them short, it makes the timing seem like it's going faster, um, or slower depending on what the scene is. So, say like person one is talking to person two, and they're like stammering, and person two is just like staring at them, and person one is like silent at the end because they are trying to like get their head together to say something. And we can have like the big moment here with a big box, um, where we get a close up of these two. And then like the dialogue here. So for dialogue, the dialogue bubbles like for right now they can just like be whatever size. Like it's just indicating where I'm gonna talk, where I'm gonna have them to talk. But I don't like write anything here unless it's like something that I know I'm gonna forget later. Like I'll just make like I'll write that like a question mark for if it's a question. Um, say like they're trying to say something here and it's just like short things using like what we want for the panels and how the story would go. It's like you can do whatever you want with like how the story's depicted. Like it gets better over time and the more you like read comics and you notice what you like in them, um that actually I'm gonna keep this. Um, it like what you like in them that you want to practice. Like when I was in high school, I would um go and uh read like every single manga book in the library, and I would see I mean it was a little difficult because like they write right to left, but I would always like to at least like try my hand at like just like the kind of scenes that they had in the comics. That and like American comic books. So right now I'm on a second layer. Um, just like I like to line the boxes first to make sure that they're even, so that like if I draw a character in it, they're not gonna like fly off and I'll have to like chase them with the lines. If that makes sense. Um, and if it's like something I'm gonna like, I don't know, just for fucking OCs and stuff, like nothing serious, I would like just do like hand drawn boxes. You can also like use like the shape tool and just make boxes like this. There's like a ton of tools in like any software you use. Okay, so sometimes I like to start with the dialogue, but yeah, we can do the dialogue first. So, uh, from personal experience, I write a little bit too big whenever I want to write like dialogue stuff. So, usually what I start first is like if I sketched a dialogue bubble here, I'll erase. I'll erase the space that it might take, maybe a little bit more. Who knows? It's like I said, I don't really like try to make it too perfect, especially if it's just like I need to write this down now because I'm a simp. Um, but I'll so like the scene that I'm gonna make right now is have person one be the only one talking, and they're stammering so much that it's just like, you know, like not like person B or two is like, you know, just not moving, not changing. But person one is like speaking a lot, and the time passing is like both slow and fast. So there's like these small boxes, and then there's a pause with like a big box here with their face zoomed in. So with no dialogue box, so it like implies like, you know, pause. Um, so I think this first box will have like just some stammering, like so, uh, and then I read somewhere on Twitter that um you want to have like, there's like a certain ratio, I don't know what it is, but you want to make sure that there's enough space around the letters that it like doesn't overcrowd it. It takes a little bit of practice. Usually I would just like aim for the bubbles to be as big as possible. Um, and because this is like an American style, I just like choose like the horizontal ovals rather than in manga they have like the vertical ovals like this. That's because like that's because of like the Japanese language and the, you know, English or any language written like this. I don't know, but basically that's it for like bubbles. Like um, you can do a lot of cool shapes and stuff. I mean, there's some tools that you can use. Like there's some tools that like automatically make different shapes of dialogue boxes. Like here's like what I call like the explosion one where it's like yelling like ah ah. Um, Sometimes like to make it more dramatic, you can like make them like look like they're melting. They're like really sad, like ooh. And then sometimes or like thought bubble. One thing that I like to do for some reason is always have like the little circle like within the the bubble, and then like I write the thought. Um, I don't know, that's just me. Uh, in manga, there's also like the whispering kind of thing too, where it's just like staccato dots around it and goes, hey, 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 hey. Um, and sometimes like if you have like a specific characters or like type of character that I don't know is speaking in like magical language or something, um, you can do some cool stuff with like the bubble. Like I used to have characters that had like a second bubble around it, and then I would like put like colors or something around that, um, and do that. Sometimes they can have like in manga, there's like I can't like freehand this, but it's like 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 if they're going back in time or in a flashback, they like describe the scene like this. I mean, you can do the same. Like American comics would just have like the narrator kind of boxes, like you know, the Deadpool is cool. I spelled that so wrong. Anyway, like there's a lot that you can do, and uh, you don't want the little pointer thing to be too close to the mouth of the person, because that takes away the um, attention to the scene. I personally, I tend to like have all my dialogue bubbles like outside of the um, panel, just because that's what gives it like enough space. So like I want person one. I've been watching a lot of Dan Dan Dan, so fucking let's make this Okurin. Hee 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 hee. So, and this is Momo. I have not drawn these two at all, so I'm just gonna like phone it. He nervous. Um, so the box is like a really good, or dialogue bubble is a really good distance away from like the characters, so your eye will go immediately to the this bubble, and then it's gonna continue to the characters. At least that's what I think when I'm like trying to design the scenes. And then you have to like always think about how the viewer's eyes are gonna travel throughout throughout a page. So like say we're doing like a manga page. Like say say this style with like the reading left to right. Um a I wouldn't say bad habit, but like one thing that I would always do is I would always start with like a small box in the top left hand corner, and then like the scene will progress this way because as readers that read left to right, our eyes are always going to go to the top left part first, and then the next box is whatever you want to do, and then keep going here and then continuing in like a um it's no like this kind of S-shaped pattern till the end of the page. um you can when you feel comfortable you can like play around with that a little bit. You can play around with it a little bit where um like a character is like up here and then something like down here, like it's like looks completely normal, and the reader's eyes are like, oh wow, it's like beautiful sunny day, whatever, and then there's like a monster down here. So it gives you like a sense of fear or unexpected terror because it's like all normal up here and then suddenly, oh my god. um if that makes sense. So back to these little dialogue bubbles, you have to keep in mind of those, the way like the reader is gonna be reading them. So um, I'm gonna make another one here, and then to like emphasize how much he's like stuttering. Like I can do another bubble here, and then this will be another bubble. So since he's like continuing this way, and then the eye of the reader is going to continue traveling to the right as they keep watching this loser. Uh, I shouldn't say that. He's a good kid. Um, Stammer. Uh, I'll have like this bubble be uh lower, and then one goes higher. So now like there's like a nice smooth flow here. Because it's, just him trying to like collect himself. Um, and then you get the gist. One secret hack that I have, because a lot of the scenes that I like to do where something funny is happening, like somebody is like really nervous or time is passing like really quickly for them or something, with like this kind of like box pattern is the other person not uh, either responding or like just like somebody else is stationary. Um, so what I do is I take the lasso tool, I lasso around the person. Keep in mind, like what I'm gonna grab is whatever I grab. So I'm this is like an example, so I'm not gonna be super clean about this, but I copy this and then paste, and it's gonna create a different copy layer. And then like transform the copy over here. And I have to keep in mind that this is on a separate layer. So I can do this again. Transform, put her over here. And then I merge all of the other copy layers so that I'm back to just this one. Yeah. And give her a little blush on this side. So even though she's like not saying anything, not moving, there's still like a small like change that like I don't know, um, the readers will notice, not notice, but I mean it's just part of like something fun. Um, and then once you're done with this page, like all the stuff is done, we're gonna pretend I finished it all. You just hide the layer and boom, you got a comic. If you want to do like fancy stuff, like um, like effects and stuff, there's some really easy ones you can do. Like um, a very fun one is like the action lines. Like, whoa, something's happening. Um, Another one that takes a little bit of time uh, is like a gradient where you just make a layer underneath. Um, I have the autofill tool, but for now I'm just gonna like do the good old like select and oh god, okay. Um, and gradient. And it's like foreground to transparent. And you just boom, and then unselect, and so you get like a moodier background. Um, you can even like do like oops. Um, you can even do like some like lines here and stuff. Some some programs, especially Metabang Paint, they have tools that do that for you already. So like I know there's like one where like it has like the shojo uh bubbles here. I've just like practiced to do them by hand because I used to make a lot of comics as a kid, just like trying to. I used to think that everything in manga was hand drawn, so I would like try practicing it myself. But you don't have to. And you know, golden rule, have fun and be yourself. And please watch Dan Da Dan. It's a very good show.